Well, hello, everybody, and thanks for joining us. Richie Melby here with MontanaSports.com, having a little bit of fun on the 6-month anniversary of this bad boy, the Yellow Sports Bra right here. We've got the author, Jamie Graham Dupre, up here. We've got a who's who of Highline talent, myself excluded from this. We've got Joe Puckett on here as well, speaking of books and authors, talking about the dream with the Peerless Panthers. So we're going to have a little bit of fun as we talk with a couple of authors and publishers and some teammates and coaches and families and friends about the book, the 6-month anniversary. Jamie, you and I chatted a while back about the release of the book, and COVID has certainly played an impact on that. But everybody's had a chance to read through it now, and we want to get these guys' thoughts on these words that you've penned down, and you know, who's feeling disappointed that you made them 2 inches shorter than they really were, or whatever it might have been in the pages of this book. So Jamie, go ahead, take it away. Let's have some fun here tonight.
Thank you, Richie. Thank you for making this happen. This is so fun. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and introduce everybody that's available tonight. So I'll start with on my screen, I have my dad up top, Jim Graham, and then Chassie Buffington Stonehawker. She's out there in Denton. Mother of 5, rancher, businesswoman, Carly Van Dyke Sannon, Coach Sannon, and she has 3 kiddos, and she's the coach there at Tech in Butte. And then Willie Schlepp, Coach Schlepp, is principal in Helena and has 3 high school kiddos now of his own. And Heidi Season Brown, Dr. Brown, she's a dentist over there in Helena with their 3 kiddos. And then Macy Temple Shadow, she's pretty close to me. I'm out here in the Black Hills of South Dakota, and Macy is in Douglas, Wyoming. And then Caitlin Engstrom Salisbury, she and her 4 boys, they live in Kalispell. And Linda and Michelle Van Dyke are up there in the heart of the High Line. They're representing up there in Chester, with where my dad is as well. And then Joe Puckett, he's a Peerless Montana boy out there in DC, and he and I have connected as he's the publisher of my book, and we connected when I read his book. And last but not least, Amanda Schlepp Amosa, she's over there in sunny California with her husband and their 2 daughters.
Heidi's my dentist, so I want to make sure my teeth look okay. All right, I thought so. So yeah, we talked about a couple of books right here that we have. The one that we're going to be focusing on, of course, is the Yellow Sports Bra, the run to the state championship, the 4 quarters broken down in the 4 years. And Joe, since you were the publisher of this book and got to have a chance to meet up with Jamie and talk about everything, we're going to let you kind of be our moderator / host this evening and ask some questions about some of the contents of the book and what everybody thought about it. And we're going to let these guys kind of take it away. And like I said, just have a little bit of fun on a Monday night as of this recording. So Joe, it's all you.
Sounds good, Richie. Thank you. And thanks, Jamie. And thanks everybody for being here tonight. It's an honor for me to be here. Peerless Montana boy on the High Line north of Chester and probably about 400 miles east. I'm sporting you probably can't see it, my Peerless Panther, the legendary Peerless Panthers. The high school closed in 2009. My grandfather founded the high school, and my cousin was the superintendent when it closed. So I have nothing but special memories of the small community of Peerless playing in small town basketball in Class C, Montana on the High Line. So I had nothing in common with Jamie when she sent me her manuscript. I just couldn't wait to read it because it was my story a little bit later, a little bit different story, but I was amazed at how much that we all had in common reading her book and identifying with it, being from a small town and a small community. So I've read the book, edited it, and I've read it again. And so I feel like I know you. I haven't met any of you, but I feel like I know you. I'm looking forward to just hearing what you have to say about the book and about your experience of living and growing up and playing basketball in Chester. I want to start with the coaches. I know we have coaches, parents, and teammates, sort of 3 critical ingredients for a community to be successful in basketball. Start with Coach Van Dyke. I know you coached these girls in travel ball, select ball, and in high school. You won a state championship. in 2001. You came close in other years. You were very dominant. I know that you won 100 games, I think lost 6 the 4 years that Jamie played. I was wondering, other than the state championship, this was obviously a special group of girls. What are you most proud about when you think about them as players and girls that you had the privilege to coach?
One thing I'm really proud of them is their respect. They respected each other. They respected their parents. They respected their teachers. They respected their coaches and their community. And so one thing I'm so proud of them is how hard they worked, and along this journey, who they all became. And that's, to me, that's wonderful. Jamie introduced them, and their moms, their wives, their doctors, their teachers. So that's what's really important to me, is who they became along this journey.
That's awesome. I have just one more question for you, Coach. As you were so dominant, how did you motivate your players in practices? And I know you played a lot of games where you won, by, 80 points. How did you motivate your players when you were playing at a level that was so much higher than other teams daily and in the game?
Well, these girls were always goal-oriented, and we had a lot of goals. We would start each game with goals, like how many turnovers, what is our shooting percentage. And this was a bunch that they were just going to work hard every day and to become better. And I think we all had a goal in mind to become state champs, and that is what motivated them.
Coach Schlepp, you were the assistant coach for Linda, and I think later you became a head coach. Is that right, Willie?
Yeah, I was assistant there several years, and then was a head coach for the boys as well. And then I moved to Helena. At Helena High was 8 years.
As an assistant coach to Linda, what was the one thing that you really took away from her style that you took with you as a head coach yourself?
Oh, 100% passion for the game, love of her players, just the energy and the commitment to making not only yourself better every day, but also, the athletes, and just unbelievable people that started me out in my career with Coach Graham and Coach Van Dyke, just unbelievable role models that really molded me into really who I am today. So I can't thank them enough for all the time and commitment that they gave me and my wife at the time.
Is there a part of your coaching style that's distinct from Linda's that might be a little different, where you branched out a little bit?
A little bit, but I would definitely say my kids right now in high school, they're running the 7-minute drill in Helena, Montana, many, many, many years ago. And that was something that started way back when in Chester. So, you pick up things along the way, but just definitely a solid foundation that really gave me an opportunity to what I'm doing today. Great.
And Jim and Karen, the parents and Coach Jim. So one of the things that I found humorous in the book, at least Jamie told me this, is that Jim, of course, is very sports oriented, and the Graham family is, but not so much on the mother's side. That's the case in my family as well. My wife, it's, are you going to be sad if you lose? How has that worked out in your marriage and relationship? How do you sort of balance that? And has maybe Karen become more competitive and you less competitive? Have you have a little give and take there?
Well, I'm not sure if I've become any less competitive, but she has become a little more, probably. She was always just happy and make sure the girls were happy and everything was going well. And we didn't want to be sad if we lost. But she got a little tougher, a little more ornery. If she watches the Cubs, you would understand that. But you know what? We just we watched these girls, since they were babies, and we'd sit out here in the living room and they would do their dance routines and all that stuff. And so just watching them grow up was the highlight of our life, you know. And then obviously, you know, seeing them, you know, the success that they had, and Linda mentioned it too, and the success not only on the court but off the court is very satisfying. But no, just being around them was a thrill. And no, Karen has got a lot more competitive. Yeah, she's still no good, but athletically, but she's got a lot more competitive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my wife hasn't gotten any more competitive, but I don't know. It still works. So I was wondering, Jim, my twin brother knows you. He taught and coached at Chester. I was wondering if you, when you recognized this group of girls, and you know, I mean, starting with Carly and you know, the teams there from the seniors on down, when you knew that it was a special group of kids, how early were you able to recognize that, and how did such a talented group of girls and so competitive manage to all land in a small Class C town? That amazes me.
Yeah, we got lucky there. Most of them were Chesterites. We moved in when Jamie was just a baby, and Van Dykes weren't far behind us. Well, a few years behind us, I guess. But everybody was here and just got lucky. And again, with their athletic ability too, their scholastic ability. I mean, I think the overall GPA was probably 3.99. I think somebody might have got an A- one time or whatever. But just everything melded, and we could tell. Yeah, it was probably Michelle. But we could tell early on, you know, that they wanted to be out there when they were third, fourth, fifth grade. Linda kind of organized them a little bit, and we opened up the gym a few times, and they kind of took to it like waters. And their parents were very, you know, very behind us, very supportive. And we said, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. And so everything, like I said, just kind of fell into place. And we just got lucky. You know, nobody got any more lucky than us with these girls.
Yeah, just reading the book, you could just tell the relationships, the friendships,
Right.
the special bond they had went well beyond the basketball court. Even went to the same church, a lot of them. I remember reading that. Yeah, the same. So yeah, so we got the coaches and the parents. Now we're going to turn to the players. And I don't know how to do it in sequence, but I have a question for all the teammates. Maybe start with Carly, I think the oldest. Playing together with this group of girls in Chester and reading the book. Was there any memory that reading the book that stirred up in you that you might have, you hadn't been aware of it in a long time, but there it was again when you read the book, something that might have surprised you? And the second part of the question, is there anything that's not in the book that you would like to share with all of us, maybe that's humorous or about Jamie or about anybody that you might have expected to read, but it wasn't in there? Maybe start with you, Carly.
I really enjoyed reading the book. It brought back a lot of memories because I don't remember a lot of those things. I remember after reading it, I called my sister and she's like, good thing Jamie wrote that stuff down, because if she were to ask us, we wouldn't have remembered anything. So it was really fun to go back and kind of relive, I guess, the glory days. I think one thing about us as a team is that we spent countless hours in the gym. A lot of us did go to the same church, but there was a lot of Sunday afternoons after church, either, you know, Jim and Karen and Jeff and Jamie would come over to our house for lunch after church, or we would go there, and then we always went to the gym. You know, Sunday afternoons we spent in the gym, and I think that's kind of, and we went to the gym before school, and before school started, Coach Graham and
Hamill, and my dad actually opened the gym up for us so that we could come into the gym at 7. We were done by 8. We showered and were ready for school at 8:20. But just the countless hours that we spent practicing, to get to where that they ended up as state champs their senior year. They put a lot of time and effort into the gym. I think one of my favorite memories, and I kind of actually forgot about it, is when we huddled up to run out on the court before the game started. We all said a word, and I had kind of forgot about that. And we had kind of gone through and what those words meant to us and to our team. So it was pretty fun to remember that.
Thanks, Carly. Maybe Michelle, move on to you next, sister.
All right.
High jump record holder still, right? In the state of Montana, is that right? Your high jump record still holds?
Yep. I see. Yep. I think so. Yeah. No, reading the book was really fun because I literally can't remember what I did yesterday. So just like it brings back tons of really fun memories. And when I got done reading it, I called Jamie and I was just like, I had tears. I mean, mostly happy tears, and but just bringing back a lot of stuff. So it was emotional too, I think. And I think kind of the most special memory for me, and to kind of bring it back where it all started, is when Jamie and I just went to the gym at 7 a.m. or 6:30 or whatever it was. And that was just, I don't know, it was just really special to me because that's kind of where it all started, that drive, that putting in work. And that, we were young and I am not a morning person at all. Everyone knows that.
Not either.
So yeah, to get up and to do that, but it kind of just brought back that, that's kind of where it all started. And so no, that was probably my specialist memory of the book.
Any memory about Jamie or that's not in the book that maybe?
Nothing that comes to mind, but it was fun to read it too, because I can just hear Jamie, or I don't know how to say it, but I can just how she's so funny. It just made it so fun to read, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Does. Chassis, maybe let's go with you.
Okay, here we go. Same as Carly and Michelle both said, I'm so thankful that Jamie wrote this book, because I don't remember many of those years, and especially all the details. The games were so detailed in the book that it was fun to hear the highlights and a lot of the opponents' names, and it just sparked a lot of memories for me. And the things that maybe didn't make it into the book were maybe a little off the court things that I can think of, like hanging out at Temple's house and the countless movies we watched. And I think Jamie did talk about a lot of those things, but those are just such fond memories. And our friendships, and there was a whole bunch of us. I can't even think of anyone that didn't live within like a 3-block radius. At least had their houses in town.
Mm-hmm.
We all had ranches and farms, but we had houses that were just across the block from each other, and just the amount of hours we spent in each other's basements or upstairs watching movies. Those are just special memories.
Thanks, Chassis.
Yeah.
Heidi?
Yeah, I just was thinking about all the details as well, and thinking that there wasn't, I really thought when I read the book, I was surprised on every page, everything I forgot, and I was so thankful that she wrote it down as well. And I remember a lot of those memories kind of off the court as well, and thankful that she didn't write them all down. I do with my close friends, and as much as we all hung out, I probably spoke first and thought second, and she could embarrass me so much, and she just really wrote an amazing, compiled a story of all of us, and it was just really fun to read.
Were you the one, Coach Van Dyke, I think your senior year, was talking about a puzzle in her opening comments to start the season off? And what do you do when there's a missing piece to the puzzle?
That was actually Amanda. I could have easily said that. That one was Amanda, so I won't take credit for that one.
Yeah, I still laugh when I think about that. Maybe Jamie, maybe you could tell the story since we're on it.
Yes. Well, like Coach alluded to, that before every game, and especially before every season, we were really specific with our measurable goals, and she would write them down on the whiteboard, and we talked about foul or turnovers and free throw percentage and assists, steals, and all these things. And then Coach always had a theme every year. One year it was the journey, not as much the destination, but the journey. And then one was about a song of just how many roles we play in different areas of our lives. And then our senior year, she talked about, we had like a puzzle picture on our binders. And she's like, well, what happens when there's a piece of the puzzle that's missing? And Amanda's like, you put it back in the box and sell it at a garage sale. And everyone was just like, well, and Coach was, now as a teacher and a coach myself, I think she handled that very well. She said, well, that's not quite what we were looking for. But
I have a little funny story. This year for our team retreat, Jamie actually spoke to my team, and she kind of went through her books and the stages, and talked about her freshman year, and then talked to some of the freshmen and talked to the seniors. But she had told that story about the puzzle. So with COVID, I've had to really think outside the box because it's kind of been just a crazy year. So I went to Goodwill and bought a 2,000-piece puzzle and left it in the locker room. And if they completed it in 5 days, they got 2 days off of practice. So they were very highly motivated, and they really got mad because there was quite a few pieces that were missing. So the edge pieces, which really aggravated people, and it was like 3 colors. It was a really hard puzzle. So at the end, we went in and we talked about why we had to use teamwork to do it. And we kind of talked about things that Jamie talked to us about. And then when we finished, they're like, well, we can sure sell this in a garage sale because all the pieces aren't here. So it was pretty funny.
That's amazing.
You guys
That's
are never
awesome.
going to let me live that down.
Hey, it's in the book. You're a legend.
Without permission.
Well, Amanda, since you're talking, how about we go to you?
All right. So I had been awaiting the book for a while, and my parents were actually visiting when it came in, and I didn't even get to open the book to start with. My dad could not wait to open it. So he actually sat down with the book before I even got to even look through it, and he was like, oh, look at this. And so once I finally got to sit down and read it, there were times where I kind of just got lost in the book because it was like reliving the event. I mean, Jamie's such a talented writer, and there were times where my kid's like, Mom, we're hungry. Oh yeah, it is dinner time. I guess I should probably feed you guys. And so I think I read it in like 3 settings. And there were times where I was texting Jamie and, I love this part or this page. And so that was kind of fun. And then, and after I did, there was a couple of times where I was like, you didn't put this part in, or one memory that I have is of their senior, and I'm the young one. So I'm younger than all of these girls. Well, Carly's older than me. I didn't actually get to play with Carly. She was a senior the year I was an 8th grader. So I did get to play open gyms and stuff like that. But I mean, she still had an impact in my work ethic as well as all of these girls. But I didn't get to actually be on the court with her, unfortunately. But these guys were all a year older than me. And so they kind of drove me into actually being more dedicated. I wasn't as into going to the gyms at first, and the morning gyms, there were times where I'd be like, yeah, I want to go. And then I just wouldn't get out of bed or whatever. But I don't remember where I was going with this story. The one memory that I told Jamie about, I was saying, excuse me, but our senior year, Jamie had gotten really sick at the beginning of the season. I'll never forget this practice as long as I live, because Katie had surgery. Jamie was out sick, and there were 6 of us that day, I think. Or did somebody else have mono also, or was it just you, Jamie?
It was some weird virus, but yeah, I think it was just you 6 that were left for the whole practice.
And that, I'm telling you, that was the hardest practice the whole year. Coach had told us, okay, we're going to do 3-on-0. So, and 3-on-0 is a tough drill in the first place. So we do that for, I don't remember how long we had done it for. And then she's like, all right, get a drink. We're doing the 7-minute drill. And we were all like, are you kidding me? Because there was only a few of us. So I told her that was like the hardest practice that I'd had my whole career as a basketball player, I would say. But that was something that I said. You didn't even put anything about that in the book. But definitely the book sparked a whole lot of memories, and great memories. And I really liked the very beginning, because there were things that I had forgotten about when we were really little. The first 2 state championships that she put in there that, like I said, I couldn't remember it. She's got an amazing memory for all of that stuff. So it was awesome. I loved the book. And I did ask her when she's going to write the college edition.
Yes, we're all looking forward to that, Jamie, including your publisher. So thanks, Amanda. Yeah, Coach McLean coached at Peerless High School for a while. I knew his dad, Zuni McLean, was a legendary coach at Plentywood, Class B. Plentywood would have been Class B when Chester was Class B. And both incredible coaches. Macy, let's move on to you.
Okay, first.
The twins that don't look like twins.
Yeah, that's true. First off, if we do a college version, keep it PG, because I also went to Rocky for the first couple years. So Jane, keep that in mind. So I guess reading the book, one thing that I really enjoyed was seeing all the names. I hadn't thought about some of those names in a really, really, really long time. And it was just fun kind of remembering people from different towns as I was going through the book. One thing I do kind of want to talk about was kind of like Coach and Mr. Graham were saying, the parents. I'm sure all of us can say how supportive a system we had, not only with our parents, and a big kudos to our parents because they supported us with everything, but also with the community that were like parents. And Jamie did hit on that quite a bit in her book, but just that emphasis of the community and how much people really cared with our team and with the young people in our community. So.
Any memory of Jamie that didn't make the book that's PG or G? Sure.
Well, one thing I really appreciate is that she didn't talk about me pulling on her broken finger. So thank you for not commenting on that, because Carlene Jensen, I would rub her back before the game and would loosen up. And I don't know if you guys remember this, but like not even 2 days, she was, oh, I really hurt. So I'm like, oh, I'll rub you down. And she had appendicitis. And then I think it was like a week later or something, I was pulling on Jamie's, well, maybe a year later, I don't know. I was pulling on Jamie's finger, which ended up being broken. So I quit touching people.
That was it, huh? Awesome. Katie, it's your turn, Katie.
All right. Well, my words about favorite parts of the book were very similar to Macy. The community aspect, I guess, with the year of 2020 that we're going through is just, it really hit home this summer reading it. It was really cool to sit back and say, wow, like we seriously had a dynamite childhood. But not only that, it was because it was instilled with us to have resilience and grit and grind. And we worked hard for those things. It wasn't given to us at the same time. For me, out of those 6 seniors, I feel that I had to work pretty dang hard to get to where I was athletically. So it was fun to be able to be pushed and have that push from family and community. And I told Jamie and Heidi the other night, we were talking about Dolan and Eric Kleinsasser. I hadn't thought about those guys forever, and they were just always knuckleheads, and we thought they were mean, but to hear that support we had from them was really cool to remember that they really loved us, even though they acted like they were tough guys. So, and then memories that didn't make the book is all the food and snacks and treats we made and ate. Like, I think about that stuff all the time and how I can whip that up for my kids. And they were the most bizarre things, but she probably should have put a menu list in the back of the book, because that would have been sweet. And then a couple thoughts on our confidence and our self-esteem. None of us really got our feelings hurt too badly. We kind of just bounced stuff off each other and had a good time. We didn't sweat the small stuff. I can think of 100 million times that Willie would show up at a breakfast and say, "Oh, great, thanks for saving me some, guys," you know, because we'd eaten it all. Or showing up to the bus, we weren't maybe dressed to the nines, which we usually were because it was a requirement, but the comments from him saying, "Oh, thanks for dressing up for me today, gals," you know, just fun stuff like that. The fun banters really kind of shaped all of us, I guess. We're all pretty strong, independent women.
Awesome. Thanks, Katie. Jamie, I think we've got everybody, all of the teammates that are here tonight, and so we'll end with the author. Over to you, Jamie.
Thank you, Joe. Oh, it's just been so much fun. I said that early on. Never could I have imagined just all of the self-reflection for me, and then as these ladies all mentioned, and coaches, just the connections. And Joe, even you adding that, you know, Zuni and Mike McLean, and you and I have talked several times about the reference of small town Montana being one super long street. It's just, it's really powerful. And Katie alluded to that with the connection during this time, that we humans just crave that connection. And how lucky are we to just have these experiences to draw from. And then now as parents ourselves, grandparents, to be able to just have that community, that love modeled for us. It's just awesome. So I love that you all are on here today, and just thank you for being such a big part of my story.
Thanks, Jamie. Before I guess hand it back to Richie, is the Chester reunion on for summer 2021?
I think that Karen Graham is on the committee, and probably Judy Temple. So I think so far they're trying to plan to have that July 2021. Coach, maybe you are too. You want to speak to that?
As far as I know, we hope to hold it this year. I guess we have to see what happens, but that's what our plans are, is to just do everything that we missed out on last summer.
Well, I hope you get to do that. I might make it up there myself. I would love to meet all of you. And I know there's not a menu on the back, but there is the playlist. And I love a lot of those songs that Jamie put in there. So I would love to listen to that playlist if I come up to Chester too. Richie, I think we're good.
I'm kind of bummed there's no menu, but a playlist is a decent thing. One of the questions that I just had, because I feel like anytime we do a "Where Are They Now" or something fun like that, we always ask, like Coach Sandin would be a perfect one, do your players know your pedigree and your history? For all of you with kiddos, I'm curious, before this book came out, did any of your own kiddos have any idea that you guys were state champions, that you guys made that push and run all the way? I'm curious. I always like to know.
For me, my nephew pulled the book out of library in Chester, and he called me like within 10 minutes of getting off the bus. We have a 45-minute ride out to the ranch where I grew up, and he had read, you know, a good part of the book on the way home. And so he got home and called right away, "You're famous, Auntie KK, you're famous." I'm like, well, not quite, but it's pretty cool that he could pull it out of there. And my boys, you know, they don't have a big clue about it. They know who, you know, Auntie Jamie is and her kiddos, but they haven't sat and read it. So I'll have to get on that.
I feel like for me, my husband's a state champion wrestler from Wyoming, so it's good like bragging rights. Be like, oh, see, I'm in a book. So, so that's kind of how I use it. My children are kind of young still, but someday I'll absolutely bring it up to them and show them.
Athlete kiddos in everybody's family. I mean, are we passing on this tutelage to all these kids too to make them make their run?
Hey, Richie, I was going to say, oh, sorry, whoever's next, go ahead. I was just going to say, I use you guys as examples like crazy, just with my own kids and just all the things that you guys accomplished. And what an honor it was to really start my career with such great people. And my wife and I were walking last night and we were coming back and we were just kind of going through each of you. I'm not a Facebook person, but she keeps me in the loop of all your kids and everything you're doing. And I said, you know, I could have predicted all this, honestly, just because of how you guys were and the attributes and the character skills that you have. So your lessons every day in my world, whether it's in my own home with my kids or whether it's in my office with kids that really I wish you could meet and mentor and model. So kudos to that. And like I said, I could have called this a long time ago, of how successful you guys are and how much of an honor it's been to just be a part of it. Honestly, just even if it is just getting thrown in the pool or whatever it is, but it's pretty cool. So I'm appreciative of everything. So thank you.
That's really nice to hear, Coach Schlepp. I have an 11-year-old daughter, and we live in Denton, Montana, so we are living the Class C basketball lifestyle right now. She just finished her first junior high season, and right before she started the season, she read the book, and it was she didn't know that part of Mama's life, so that was pretty cool for her to get to see that, and I think it motivated her to go into her season. And it's a little bit different in Class C where we live now. We have co-op teams, so we go to Stanford and Geyser, but within Stanford, there's some Chester connections, so it's just really fun with Connie Becker and things like that. But it's going to be fun. We still have the same feel in Class C. Our communities are super supportful, and it was just really neat for my daughter to be able to read it, and she's never really played basketball before, so this was exciting for her and gave her some motivation. So
that's a good point. Is everybody all right with the Joplin Inverness stuff that's going on up there right now? Because Kremlin Guilford doesn't even exist. At least y'all are still in a title somewhere.
I feel like it would be great because I could play with all my cousins.
I was thinking you of all people would probably fit in the most with it because a lot of those Temple JIs up there would have been fine.
Yep.
I think that's one thing, Richie, that Joe and I have talked a lot about too, is that identity that we find from, from where you grow up. So it's worth a minute to reflect on that and those changes, because it's not the Coyotes anymore, it's the Hawks. And so it is nice to have Joe's book to be able to archive the history of the Peerless Panthers, and for the same for the Chester Coyotes too.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, our small town's getting smaller by the minute, but Chassie, like you just said, that Class C life is still very much out there. Not that I have a media bias towards it or anything, but nothing beats going and covering the Class C state basketball tournament. Still enjoy that. I'm going to make you guys all promise me that 5 years from now we can do this again with book 2, the black ankle brace or white Nike socks or whatever we're going to title that one. We can all pop back on here and chat about it again, and we'll see how much of that PG stuff sticks around through the college years. I know what college was like compared to high school. So I just want to thank all you guys for coming on, having some fun. Share the book.
Thank you, Richie. Oh, and I will add that little, my another favorite thing for me, just with these on the same line of the connections, is the people that I've gotten to talk to that have read the book from, especially all over Montana, and young and old, male and female. And so many people have shared their story. There was one woman that lives down the road in South Dakota here in this small town, and she said, I feel gypped. I never even got to play basketball. They didn't even have basketball. And, just to hear some stories. And another woman shared about, you couldn't go past half court if you were a certain position. And, that didn't even come to mind for me. So I just love hearing what it brings up for other people in their context and in their lives. So please, when you read the book, let me know. My email's on the back, and I just have had a blast hearing from people that were opponents of ours that a lot of us have connected with over the years since then. And it's just been the coolest thing.